Well, hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I am getting a little creative and trying something new. I got a new toy. Not something I ever really thought that I would be getting for my garage, but you know, here we are. And this box is really hard to open with one hand. Pause. There we go. But I have purchased myself the cheapest of the cheap little airbrush, and this is one that has its own air canister because I do not have an air compressor, so it's got its own little built-in doohickey. Probably actually should start charging this right now because we're not going to be using it right away. And the reason I have bought an airbrush is because I have a really fun idea for painting my valve cover and eventually turbo when that gets in, but no turbo to paint right now, just the valve cover. I was so torn between doing neons and this because I do love neon colors in an engine bay. I actually, when I first reached out to the powder coater, I told him fluorescent yellow, period. Brightest yellow you got, let's go. But I changed my mind. I saw a photo on Instagram and just knew that was what I wanted to do. And I don't think it's gonna come out quite as awesome on the valve cover here. You can see, got it powder coated gold for now, but we're actually changing most of that. But it's gonna look awesome on the turbo because it's circular. So I don't want to spoil the surprise yet, so I'm not going to. You're gonna have to watch the video and wait and see. But please also remember, if you want to follow me and my Turbo Miata build, you can see them back there in the back with the hood open. Go ahead and like and subscribe to this video, please. And without further ado, let's get started on painting my valve cover. So, first things first, I'm sorry if I decapitate myself with this video angle. I'm trying my best to be able to capture both the valve cover and me. But first things first, I'm gonna get this clean. So it is freshly powder coated, but I wanna make sure that there's no grease or anything left on there that will keep the paint from sticking. So I'm using rubbing alcohol. It's like my go-to degreaser before I wrap cars, before painting. And then, I think most of these holes I'm gonna try to tape off a little bit just so we're not getting a ton of spray in there. And then we will have to move outside because I don't want my toolbox to be pink. Yes, pink. I'm putting pink on it. Can't believe it, but I am. All of the holes are plugged. So now I'm gonna go ahead and tape off the design that I will be spraying in pink. This is gonna be kind of the main base color on top of the gold. And then we'll have to make a stencil, and then I can go in with the airbrush. I have the whole thing taped. At this point, I said pink. You guys might have an idea of what we're doing here. I decided the easiest way to go about taping this, instead of trying to make perfect curved lines with my super brittle, cheapest of the cheap Amazon painter's tape, I used the thickest piece I had and then I cut it out with my vinyl knife. Now, does this mean there's gonna be scratches on my brand new powder coat? Yeah, it does, but it's right where the paint's gonna end, so I'm not too worried about it. If you're worried about it, don't use this method on your car. But I'm just gonna put some finishing touches on here, make sure all the edges are down, and then I can go ahead and head outside. And I'm probably just gonna paint it on the grass because I have to mow the grass this weekend anyway. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we get to go throw some pink on here soon. I'm going to give this a very quick scuff with sandpaper, being very careful around the edges so that I don't nick the painter's tape. Just a quick scuff, although the surface, because these are so rough anyway, even after powder coating, surface is a little rough. So scuff with sandpaper, and then we'll go in with the first coat. Well, y'all, it is a few days later, and by a few, I mean quite a few days later. With this paint, when I was applying the coats, if you're applying another coat, you have to either apply it before 6 hours or after 24 hours. So the first day I got about 3 coats done. My last coat I put on about 10 p.m. So I was not able to do another coat until 2 days later because I didn't want to start tossing on coats at 10 or 11 p.m. But finally done, and I've got literally 30 minutes between now and when I have to leave for an appointment for work, but I just want to get started on the next step here because it is sitting, as you can see, on my floor right where I see it every single time I get out of my daily. So every time I walk out, I just see it and I'm just itching to get started. But I have the next piece here, and this really is the point where I'm going to make or break this. This little guy right here. And it might not look like much, but this is my sprinkle stencil. So now I'm sure you guys can figure out what I'm doing here. I am painting my valve cover, and my turbo in the future is also the goal to look like a frosted donut. So we've got pink frosting, the gold is underneath that, that's gonna be the donut itself, and then sprinkles. And the reason I got the airbrush is because I think it's gonna be a little easier to use this as a stencil, hold it down, and just quickly airbrush in those sprinkles. I'm a little nervous about this part. Like I said, this is the make it or break it moment. But the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and peel off the tape. So we're gonna get some satisfying, you know, not sprinkle, why did I say sprinkle? Satisfying tape peel here. And then I'm gonna try my hand at some airbrushing. And we will see how this works. Here we have it. Probably, definitely not the most satisfying tape peel ever because I used about 500 pieces of different size tape and crumbled it and stuff like that. But you guys get the idea. Really, really happy with how this turned out. I was a little concerned that my drips might not look random enough or might not give the donut effect, like the kind of dripping frosting, but especially this side, I think that is exactly the effect I was looking for. I have a little bit more time, so I'm going to whip out some airbrush paint, and I'm gonna start by practicing on my cardboard. I can't talk today. I'm gonna start by practicing on my cardboard just to make sure that I know what I'm doing, I get the paint to the right consistency. I read that sometimes you do actually need to water down the paint just a little bit. And even though I bought airbrush paint, I did see some comments of people saying, yeah, still needed to water it down. So I'm gonna make sure that I've got the paint the right consistency, that I kind of figure out the technique a little bit, and then I should be able to go in and throw on a couple sprinkles. To start off with, I have my messy Amazon box that I spray painted on top of, and we're gonna use this as a tester for me to learn how the hell I use a airbrush because I have zero idea. Y'all are gonna be learning with me today. Unless you guys already know how, which there's probably a lot of you guys out there who do already know how. And otherwise, then in that case, I'm still the only one learning. Okay, I got a little yellow, just the tiniest amount of yellow paint there because I don't know if this is going to be diluted enough. Turn it on. And it's not spraying. Okay, it's spraying very lightly. So let me put in some more. That's very, very light. It's coming out like a hazy yellow. And obviously I want solid colors. So let me. I'm wasting yellow paint, probably. Let's see about this. Okay, so the issue I'm running into right now is on the cardboard, it is spraying and looking like this. You see how there's a bunch of little polka dots in there? Now on the paper, it looks fine, but not on the cardboard. I have to figure out why that is. I think I might do a quick test on the valve cover itself, kind of in a location that's like the back of it maybe, somewhere you're not really gonna see it, and see if it's coming out spotty like that on the valve cover as well. And if so, it might be the paints. I don't know. We're gonna figure this out. Okay, so we are definitely, let me get the light on that. You can see that coming out speckled. And that is very much not the look that I'm going for. So, gotta figure out what's going on. Well, unfortunately I don't have time for that now, so I'll have to come back another day and see what in the heck is going on. Or, I should just buy rattle cans or something, I'm not really sure. It's been about a solid week since I last tried this airbrushing. I know in the video it's been like 2 seconds, but in real life it's been about a week. And I haven't tried getting this to work yet, but a lot of y'all recommended on Instagram trying to water down the paint a little bit. The reason I didn't do that to start with is because these supposedly are airbrush paints, and I saw some people saying they didn't need to water them down, but I'm gonna try watering it down, and then if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna buy spray paint and just use my Stencil with spray paint because this is just more effort than it's worth. So I have no idea how much water to add, but we're gonna wing it. It's how I learn shit anyway, by just winging it. So, got like that much paint. Let's see. I feel like probably not a lot. Solidly might have just watered it down too much. So that, and then I'm just gonna mix it and give this a shot spraying. Mix it with a punch because why not? Okay. That's like really watery now. I don't know, might have watered it down too much. Okay. Let's see what happens. Well, that's not doing it. The problem is it comes out so light, it's like I need to do a million coats, and I'm sure if I did a bunch of coats and let it dry in between, it wouldn't pill up like that, but I don't have the patience for that because I only have one stencil. Well, that sucks. For whatever reason, it's just like, it just does not want to bind to this paint underneath it. One trip to Home Depot, trip to Advanced Auto Parts, and pizza for dinner later because I got distracted. I have idea number 2. I didn't really feel like buying 5 different colors of spray paint. I got one because they didn't have a yellow Sharpie, but I found these colored Sharpie paint markers, and I'm gonna give these a shot. I'm gonna try the white one first because I can always return these if this doesn't work. But my biggest worry with these is them lasting, but I do have high temp automotive enamel clear coat that's going on top of this, and I think the airbrush was kind of the same situation where I don't know how well it would have lasted, and I kind of just assumed that the clear coat would help. So hopefully this will work, and this is gonna be a million times easier because I just get to draw them on. Moment of truth. I'm gonna try to cover up this yellow one I put way down here when the paint was acting weird. Let's see. Well, messed it up slightly. That does not look fantastic. I lied, it still looks bad. I think the solution here is I'm gonna have to really just freehand the edges. I mean, potentially I could freehand the whole thing, but I'm concerned about them all coming out looking the same if I do that, A, and B, this has like a really wide tip, so it's kind of hard, at least with this one. These are more narrow tips, so these are gonna be a little easier, but I'm just gonna send it and go with this, and I think from a distance, you're gonna get the gist. Like it really, they look bad enough to the point where I honestly do wonder if I'm better off just freehanding. Honestly, who the fuck said the edges of sprinkles had to be round? I'm not using the stencil, and I realized, like, why do the edges of sprinkles have to be round? I just kind of, I'm sorry, my paint's been in the thing this whole time, so I guess we're probably not doing yellow, but I'm honestly just kind of drawing lines, and it's working. So I'm gonna go with it, and I'm gonna send it, and we're not gonna have yellow sprinkles. This is what we're gonna go with. It's definitely not perfect. I wish it had come out a little bit better, but I'm okay with it, at least for now. Proud that I was able to do it myself, and I can always try again in the future. All I need to do to finish it up is just spray some of the high temp clear coat on top, and I'm not gonna bore you guys by having you watch me spray clear paint on something that's already painted. So I have a valve cover and no engine. One of these days my engine will be back, but next week we're over at Miata's at the Gap, so I'll take you guys with me on the adventure of Miata's at the Gap. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to follow along with my adventures and with my Miata build that will hopefully be getting started for real very soon, fingers crossed. See you guys next time.